Mike Moore Media.
I'm talking to Clint Simpson, Eden Police Chief. Hey, Chief, how are you, sir?
How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great. Well, we want to talk about several things today, but can we start maybe with kind of an overview of the Eden Police Department? I know I was so impressed a couple of years ago when we went through the Eden Citizens Academy and just kind of the hands-on we got there with your department heads. Can you kind of give us a walkthrough with Eden PD?
Sure. Currently, we're allotted 50 employees. We have 28 assigned to patrol, 10 assigned to detectives, and we just recently hired an evidence custodian, a full-time civilian evidence custodian, and then, of course, the command staff. And we strive to be out in the public and be visible, but more so interact with the public and create a positive atmosphere with the public. And you mentioned the Citizens Academy, and that's a great opportunity to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. It really is, and it really is important to be seen, be out in the community, isn't it?
It is, and not just being seen, but being approachable, and being able to talk with the citizens and let them know that we strive each and every day to provide them a good service.
And I'm on your Facebook page, Eden Police Department, about every day, maybe a couple of times a day, and you've got so many good pictures there, reaching out in the community and young people and things you're involved in.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, we strive, like I said, we strive every day to be parts of the school systems and the kids and the youth council here and the business owners, and we just strive to be out in the community and let them know that we're here for them and that we strive to provide a good service. One thing we figured out years ago when Chief Pirtle was here is he was adamant he wanted the Eden Police Department to have a Facebook page, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little against it because I didn't have a Facebook page, but he tasked me with putting that together to try to get information out to the citizens of Eden, and we formulated that Facebook page. And to be honest with you, it's been a great thing. We have a great deal of interaction with our citizens with that Facebook page. So we strive to provide updates. We strive to provide information when things are going on so that the citizens know what's going on. And then informationals when it's hazardous weather or anything like that, we try to put out so that we stay in contact with the citizens.
Yeah. Well, it's a great resource, and I guess that was kind of early on, so maybe you were a little skeptical then, but now you've got to have it, haven't you?
Hey, to be honest with you, that is one of the major forms of communication that we have from a police department when we want to get information out. I'll give you an example. Years ago when the tornado come through the central area, there were more than 80,000 views and 1,500 shares on that one event. Wow. And when you stop and think about that, there's roughly about 90,000 people, in Rockingham County. Mm-hmm. So, we receive messages from far and wide of support and things of that nature, and that's just one example of how far-reaching Facebook is and how that's a part of, to be honest with you, a part of life today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hadn't even thought of this in months, but you just kind of sparked something there. The story that I put up, I don't know when it was now, some months back, when I was in line at Biscuitville, and there was an arrest right there in the drive-through.
Yes, sir. I remember that one.
And and the positive feedback. Of course, there are always negative things out there about anything in the world, but there were so many positive comments about that, and how that was just some still photos, not even a video, but how Eden Police Department handled that. It was just very, very positive comments.
Well, I know when you watch the national news media now, there's a lot of negative when it comes to law enforcement, and I'll be the first one to say that law enforcement officers are not human. We are subject as humans to make mistakes, But having said that, we live in a phenomenal community because the support here in the city of Eden from the citizens is just it's like nowhere else. But we have good working relationships, and we're out there building those relationships each and every day. And that's just what makes this community a great community to live in and work in.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, and you know, I was talking to someone yesterday about just Rockingham County in general, but Eden specifically. It's just the feeling that's here that you don't get in other communities.
No, sir, absolutely not. It's like the police department here, and the city as a whole. When you start talking about all city employees, I know you do podcasts with Cindy Adams and some others, but you know the city employees are like a family. The police department employees, the officers are like a family, and to be honest with you, that cycles out into the community, and the community sees that, and when we're out there in a positive interaction with the youth council and kickball or reading to students at the schools and have those networks and have those relationships built, it just makes for a great working relationship and a great community to live in.
And thank you for that. We appreciate that. I know you wanted to talk about Port. That's something that came together last year. Tell us, what is that?
Well, Chief Hassel, the previous chief with Reevesville, found this plan at the national level, which is called the Post-Overdose Response Team. And, you know, we struggled for years. You know, law enforcement is viewed that we have to be proactive when it comes to illegal drugs. And we are very proactive. But there are components that there are people that become addicted and need help. And the Post-Overdose Response Team was started in Reevesville. Chief Hassel invited me to be a part of that from the very beginning. So I got to witness that, engage the effectiveness. The goal was to expand that to Eden. So last October, we expanded the Post-Overdose Response Team to Eden. And basically what that does is if we have an event where we have an overdose, we have contacts that we can contact immediately, and they're comprised of Integrated Health Care Services of Rockingham County and Daymark Recovery Services, and of course the Eden Police Department partnering together to line those individuals up within 72 hours with services to treat their addiction or their problems after having that crisis. It was positive in Reevesville, and it's been since October. It's been very positive here. I know most people have a stigma when it comes to law enforcement that, you know, the goal is just to arrest everybody and transport them to jail, but that's the farthest thing from the truth. The goal is try to help people become productive citizens again. And I made this statement a little bit earlier about law enforcement officers. We're all human, and we're all going to make mistakes. Sometimes you just need to lift those people up and point them in the right direction to get them headed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And that's really what Port is designed to do.
Just a helping hand, and making that connection is so important.
Yes, sir. It absolutely is.
Yeah, okay. So that's going well.
Yes, sir. It's going very well. Very well.
Great. Is that expanding into other departments in the county?
Well, you know, that was talked about previously, but that's up to each individual entity. It also there's a component in there. Do you have enough healthcare providers from Integrated Health and Daymark to support that? Because one component of that is these individuals are on call, and are subject to be called at any time if the need arises. So, you know, there's a component of having enough providers that's capable of responding. So you don't want to overload the providers. So it seems to be coming in stages. You know, it started in Reevesville. Roughly a year later, after seeing the success there, we wanted to make sure that we brought that here for our citizens so that we could be proactive here in our community. And so we were the second phase. I could see that possibly expanding to the rest of the county, but it's definitely going to be here in Eden for a little while.
Yeah, well, glad it's here and making a difference,
Yes,
that's
sir.
for sure. Yeah, and you just said something there about maybe not, kind of like everything else, not enough people, not enough wait staff in the restaurant. Do we have enough police officers?
Yes, sir. I mean, currently we have 4 vacancies, and I'm glad you bring that up. We have 4 vacancies, primarily due to retirements, especially recently. There's a very, very short list of applicants nowadays. Obviously, there's not a great deal of people who are interested in going in the law enforcement field, and every department, every municipality, every county, every business, whether it's private sector or public service, is seeing staffing issues. So we're putting together a program to get into the high schools, to be able to relay. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we have a group of students coming from Morehead High School. Had 6 sign up that are interested in law enforcement and what law enforcement does, and so
Great.
they will be with us all. They will be with us all day tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to be a quick fix, but if we're expanding to try to get interest in law enforcement. But right now we have a great team. This team of officers that the city of Eden has is second to none, to be honest with you. They have caring hearts, they have servant hearts, and they strive really hard every day to provide a good customer service to the citizens.
And thank you for that to your team. And, as we all know, it takes a special person to be in law enforcement. And that's encouraging, isn't it, to have that half dozen young people tomorrow doing that shadowing event with Eden PD?
It really is, especially in today's time with some of the negative media coverage at the national level when it comes into law enforcement. It's actually a great thing that you have a group of high school students who have an interest in that, who want to come and learn more about it, and hopefully, to be honest with you, hopefully some of these students really take a hold. They make the decision that they want to go to college and get their associate's degree, their bachelor's degree, and eventually BLET, and stay right here at home. Mm-hmm. The goal is you don't want your high school students to leave to go off other places. You want them to be here as part of our community where they grew up, and so that's very encouraging, and we're excited about having them here tomorrow.
Well, hope you have a great day with them. Thank you, Chief. It's been great talking to you. I appreciate it. And again, thanks for your hard work and your good work and Eden Police Department. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Chief. Bye.
Yes, sir.
All right. He wanted you to get some information there from our Chief of Police in the city of Eden, Clint Simpson, who's been with Eden Police Department a long time and doing a great job. You can get more information a couple of ways. Yes, that Facebook page is certainly a great tool, and that's Eden Police Department on Facebook. And then if you're new to the area and want to know more, there's some really good information about the department on the city's website, and that is edennc.us, and you'll find out everything you need to know about Eden right there as well, news and videos and upcoming events and all kinds of good information there too. Thank you, and thank you for listening. Thank you for your support for the Eden Police Department and their good work.